42nd session, Unit 5, Electrical Instruments and Measurements. In this session, we'll be discussing about ballistic galvanometer, its working principle, construction, and theoretical background. The outline of 42nd session presentation is: first, we'll see the learning objectives. Secondly, the basic principle on which the ballistic galvanometer works. Third one, we shall discuss some of the main parts of the ballistic galvanometer. Next, construction and working of ballistic galvanometer, and we shall discuss about the theoretical background of ballistic galvanometer, and then conclusion, and at the end of the presentation we shall see some of the multiple choice questions based on the ballistic galvanometer. The main learning objective of this session is: firstly, we shall discuss the working principle of operation of ballistic galvanometer, that is the principle, construction and working of ballistic galvanometer. Secondly, we shall study the relationship between the charge flowing through the coil and the ballistic throw of the galvanometer, that is the relationship between the charge, that is Q, and the ballistic throw, that is theta. The main basic principle behind the working of ballistic galvanometer is: from electromagnetic theory, we know that a rectangular coil carrying current, when placed in an external magnetic field, experiences a magnetic torque, and this torque induces oscillations or deflections in the rectangular coil. The angle through which the coil is deflected due to the effect of magnetic torque is proportional to the magnitude of the current that is flowing through the coil. Or in other words, the ballistic throw, that is theta, of the ballistic galvanometer is directly proportional to the current or the magnitude of the current flowing through the coil. The main parts of ballistic galvanometer that we can see on the screen. The most important of all is a rectangular coil. A large number of turns wound over an insulating frame will form a rectangular coil. It is selected in such a way that the moment of inertia of rectangular coil is large. When I is large, the time taken for oscillations is larger than the time of discharge, and the torsional couple of rectangular coil is small, so that a very small current will generate deflection in the coil. Second one, phosphor bronze wire. It is used to suspend coil between two magnetic poles. Basically used to suspend the coil between two magnetic poles. Next one is the horseshoe magnetic poles. The main function of this horseshoe magnetic poles is to create a radial magnetic field, so that the coil is always perpendicular to the magnetic field. And the next one is spring. The main function of spring is to generate the restoring force in the coil so that it comes to rest. The two terminals T1 and T2 are basically used for circuit connections, and the small mirror capital M is attached to the wire so that the deflection is measured. And the last part of the ballistic galvanometer, that is lamp scale arrangement, it is used to measure the deflection of the mirror on the screen. The construction of ballistic galvanometer. On the right hand side of the screen, we have the block diagram of ballistic galvanometer, and all the parts of the instrument are named, that is the torsion head at the top, then phosphorus bronze wire, and then mirror, and at the center we have the rectangular coil, and inside the rectangular coil. At the center we have the iron core, and on either side of the rectangular coil we have the horseshoe magnets, which are used to produce the radial magnetic field. And at the bottom of the coil you have the spring, and that spring is connected to the terminals. Here the rectangular coil, which is at the center, is suspended with the help of phosphorus bronze wire between two powerful horseshoe magnets. The lower end of the rectangular coil is attached to the spring, and the upper end is attached to the mirror, capital M. And the two ends of the wires are connected to terminals T1 and T2. And using the lamp and scale arrangement, the deflection of the ballistic galvanometer can be measured. And the whole arrangement is kept in an instrument box. Now, the theoretical background of the ballistic galvanometer. So here we shall consider capital N be the number of turns of the rectangular coil, which encloses an area capital A, and the coil is suspended in an external magnetic field, that is capital B. And from electromagnetic theory we know that a rectangular coil carrying current, when placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a torque or magnetic torque. This magnetic torque in turn induces a deflection or oscillations on the rectangular coil. This oscillation or the deflection is directly proportional to the magnitude of the current that is flowing to the coil. So therefore, the torque acting on the coil when a current small I is flowing through the coil, it is given by torque, that is tau is equal to capital N into I into B into A, where N is the total number of turns of the rectangular coil, I is the current that is flowing through the rectangular coil, and capital B is the magnetic field, and capital A is the area of the rectangular coil, which is again equal to C into theta, where C is the couple per unit twist of the rectangular coil and theta is the deflection. And let this equation be 1. If the current flows for a short interval of time dt, the angular impulse produced in the coil is, that is tau into dt is equal to capital N into capital B capital A into I dt is equal to N into B into A into dq, where I dt is equal to dq. If the current passes for t seconds, the total angular impulse is given by, that is integrating tau dt over 0 to t will give the total angular impulse. Now substituting the value of tau dt from the previous slide, that is N into B into A into dq. So here N into B into A are outside the integral sign because these terms are constant. So here we are integrating with respect to dq. So therefore dq is integrated over 0 to t. So integration of dq is q. After substituting the values of limits, it will be q. So therefore the total angular impulse will be equal to N into B into A into q, and this equation be equation 2. Let capital I be the moment of inertia of the coil about the axis of suspension, and omega is the angular velocity attained by the coil. The change in the angular momentum due to the angular impulse is given by I omega, which is equal to N into B into A into q, and let this equation be equation 3. The kinetic energy of the rotating system is given by half I omega square, where I is the moment of inertia of the rotating body and omega is the angular velocity of the rotating body. And this kinetic energy is used to twist the suspension wire through an angle theta. And let capital C be the restoring couple for unit twist of the suspension wire. Then the work done in twisting the wire through an angle theta is given by 1 upon 2 into I theta square, where I is the moment of inertia and theta is the deflection. Then equating the two equations, that is half I omega square, that is the kinetic energy of the rotating system, is equal to the work done, that is half I theta square. Then I omega square will be equal to I theta square, and I cancel on both sides, so it will be omega square is equal to the period of oscillation of the coil is given by capital T is equal to 2 pi into under root I upon C. Let this equation be 4. So which implies from the equation 4 we can deduce the expression for capital I, that is moment of inertia. That is I is equal to T square into C upon 4 pi square. Now multiplying equation 4 and 5 we get I square omega square is equal to T square into C square into theta square upon 4 pi square. After simplification we get I omega is equal to T into C into theta upon 2 pi. So let this equation be 6. Now using equation 6 in equation 3 we get T into C into theta upon 2 pi is equal to N into A into B into Q. And from this expression we can find the expression for Q, that is charge. Therefore Q is equal to T upon 2 pi into C upon N into A into B into theta. Let this equation be 7. This equation 7 gives the relation between the charge flowing through the coil and the ballastic throw of the galvanometer. And this equation 7 can be written as Q is equal to T upon 2 pi K into theta. And let this equation be 8, where K is C upon N into A into B, and it is also called as ballastic reduction factor. And finally we found the relation between Q, that is charge, and the ballastic throw of the galvanometer, that is theta, which is given by equation 8. At the end of the presentation, I would like to solve some multiple choice questions. The first question is, ballastic galvanometer is used to measure both current and magnetic flux. The options are option A true, option B false. The correct option is A, that is true, because ballastic galvanometer is used to measure both current as well as magnetic flux. Question number 2. The deflection in moving coil galvanometer is, we have 4 options. Option A, inversely proportional to the area of the coil. Option B, directly proportional to the torsional constant. Option C, inversely proportional to the current flowing. And last option, D, directly proportional to the number of turns of the coil. Out of this, the correct option is D, that is directly proportional to the number of turns of the coil, because we know that the torque experienced by the coil is equal to C theta, and it is also equal to N into I into B into A. So according to this equation, theta, that is directly proportional to the total number of turns of the coil, and all other options are wrong. Only the correct option is option D, that is deflection in moving coil galvanometer is directly proportional to the number of turns of the coil. Question number 3. The deflection theta is related to the electric current I in a galvanometer by the relation. We have 4 options. Option A, I proportional to theta. B I proportional to tan theta, C I proportional to sin theta, and D option I proportional to cos theta. The correct answer is I proportional to theta, because from the equation, that is torque C theta is equal to N into I into B into A. So from this equation, I is directly proportional to the deflection, that is theta. So the correct option is A. Question number 4. Phosphor bronze wire is used in suspension because it has, the options are: option A large couple per unit twist, option B a small couple per unit twist, C low conductivity, option D high sensitivity. The correct option is B, that is a small couple per unit twist. The purpose of phosphor bronze wire is used in the suspension because it should have a small couple per unit twist. Question number 5. A current carrying rectangular coil placed in a uniform magnetic field, in which orientation will the coil rotate? The options are: option A in any orientation, option B the magnetic field is parallel to the plane of the coil, option C the magnetic field is at 45 degrees with the plane of the coil, option D the magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane. The correct option is option D, that is magnetic field is always perpendicular to the plane. Sixth question. The sensitivity of a moving coil galvanometer can be increased by decreasing following 4 options. Option A, the number of turns in the coil, option B, the area of the coil, option C, the magnetic field, option D, the couple per unit twist of the suspension. The correct option is D, that is the sensitivity of moving coil galvanometer can be increased by decreasing the couple per unit twist of the suspension. The content or the material used for the presentation is taken from the book Electricity and Magnetism, written by Dr. K. K. Tiwari, and the diagrams are taken from the electronic sources.